Welcome. Good morning. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral to our Sunday celebration. And we would like you to know that wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are so very welcome here. We believe that we are co-creators with the divine and that you can change your entire life by changing just your mind. So welcome to our meditation portion of our service this morning. Our founder of our philosophy is Ernest Holmes, and we teach universal truths found in all spiritual teachings here at this center, both traditional and contemporary, like Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle and teachings from the Bible. We study it all here. So please visit our website if you would like to check us out some more at cslcapecoral.org and give us your prayer requests or use the Contact Us tab to send us, to connect with us with your comments and questions, and so we can get to know you better and you can get to know us better. So today our meditation is facilitated by our amazing and wonderful practitioner, Karen Gidley. So please give her a warm welcome.
Thank you. Today's meditation, I'd like you to relax, find your center, get centered, and close your eyes. And maybe take a couple of deep, slow breaths. Softening any tension around your shoulders and your jaws. Relaxing everything. Today's meditation is about don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go out and do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. This is a quote from Howard Thurman. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive. Go out and do it. Because that's what the world needs is people who have come alive. Let the words in this quote sit with you for a moment. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go out and do it. Because of what the world needs is people who have come alive. Becoming aware of any feelings, sensations, thoughts, or images that might come. And what do you notice? What makes you come alive? What can you do with that? Asking yourself, what makes me come alive? What can I do with that? What are the times when you feel most vivid, energized, engaged? What patterns emerge when you look at the times or circumstances that your unique gifts shine through? What are those patterns? Our passionate responses to life are like a string of shining lights, guiding us home to ourselves into deeper meaning. These lights are the talents, perspectives, and gifts that long to be expressed through us for the world. So now is the time to ask yourself, what makes me come alive? And what can I do with that? We can often better know what is meant for us or what makes us really come alive when we notice the circumstances that light us up from the inside and make us shine. So what is the pattern of these circumstances that really light us up from the inside, that make us shine? Remembering that the world doesn't need us to do a specific thing. The world needs people who come alive. Here is a poem. The river is famous to the fish. The loud voice is famous to silence, which knew it would inherit the earth before anybody said so. The cat sleeping on the fence is famous to the birds, watching him from the bird's house. The tear is famous briefly to the cheek. The idea you carry close to your heart is famous to your heart. The boot is famous to the earth, more famous than the dress shoe, which is famous only to the floors. The bent photograph is famous to the one who carries it, and not at all famous to the one who is pictured. I want to be famous to shuffling men who smile while crossing streets, sticky children in grocery lines, famous as the one who smiled back. I want to be famous in the way a pulley is famous or a buttonhole, not because it did anything spectacular, but because it never forgot what it could do. So what can you do? Can you remember what you can do? What makes you come alive? Remembering not to ask what the world needs, but to ask what makes you come alive. To remember that, to go out and to do that, because of what the world needs is you to come alive. So carry this through your day, that thought, what makes you come alive. And there is an affirmation for today. came out of today's Science of Mind magazine. I live my life from the love that I am. I live my life from the love that I am. And when you are ready, you can slowly open your eyes. And thank you so much for joining me today, joining me in this meditation. And this Sunday celebration will begin soon.
Wasn't that lovely? What makes you come alive? And let us come alive right now with our Big Love Band. Give them a warm welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
All right, we know the drill. We all need your voices too in these songs, so please.
So we're going to get you to
join
stand
us.
up with us and just sing along, clap your hands, do whatever makes you happy. Come with me out by the ocean. Come with me out by the sea. Walk with me down by the water. Let me bathe you in the deep. We will build a boat together, turn our faces towards the sun, set ourselves into the wind and set out where we two are one. Come with me. Ooh, believe and breathe it. Come with me up to the mountain. Come with me up to the sky. Up where we can see forever. Suspended between space and time. Ready for whatever happens. Nothing like we've ever dreamed. Everything and more awaits us in this land of evergreen. Oh, come with me. Ooh, believe and breathe it. We got a lifetime to explore. Oh, whenever our feet hit the floor, I won't. Come with me back to the city. Come with me back to the crowd. Caught up in this stirring bustle. Take my hand, let's live out loud. Fill me up with true belonging. Revel in this ecstasy. Looks just like we always planned it. Blessed synchronicity. Ooh, come with me. Ooh, believe and breathe it. Come with me. Ooh, believe and breathe it. Come with me. Ooh, believe and breathe me.
We're so versatile.
send my love
my love
over the mountain.
over the mountain.
I send my love
Send my love
over the sea.
over the sea.
I send my love
Send my love
into the heaven,
into heaven.
and it returns to me. I send my joy
Send my joy
over the mountain.
over the
I
mountain.
send my joy
Send my
over
joy
the sea.
over the sea.
I send my
I
joy
send my joy
into the heaven,
into the heavens,
and
and
it
returns to me. I send my power
over the mountain. I send my power
over the sea. I send my power
into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my peace
send my peace
over the mountain.
over the
I
mountain.
send my
I
peace
send my peace
over the sea.
over the sea.
I send my
I
peace
send my peace
into the heavens,
into the heavens,
and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. And it returns to me. And it returns to me.
We need to stand back up because we are going to bestow a blessing upon each other at this beautiful moment in time. So if you'd repeat with me what's on your screen. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. We know who you truly are. You are the spiritual image and likeness of God. We appreciate you. We love you, and we are thankful you are here. Welcome to the center.
At new
everybody hear me okay? There we go. Okay, so this month's theme has been stepping into the unknown, and this weekly talk title is Stepping Out and Stepping Up. I've got a few readings here I've chosen today. Pretty much the context for today's topic is written here, that there's a quote by Joseph Campbell, and he says, "We must be willing to let go of the life we had planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. And we gratefully step out of what has been and confidently step up and into our greatness, excited to blaze a new trail of spiritual awareness. What we have learned thus so far on our life's journey and what gifts we are bringing to the new leg of our journey, what will we share with those who travel with us?" There was a quote here. I wanted also another quote by Marianne Williamson, and this has been a favorite of mine for many, many years. "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." And that was by, again, Marianne Williamson. Today's today's reading from the Science of Mind from this month. Says, "How about showing up as love itself? To do that, you may have to let go of some pretty clear boundaries when you've created to keep yourself from being hurt or disappointed. We can always think of a good reason to withhold our love. Maybe your new motto, could be, 'I'm going to lead with love.' What's the worst that can happen? You give it and you feel you don't get anything back. You give it and it is unappreciated. You will survive. Love is the last outpost of great living. Love heals everything, including your own heart. Love opens up avenues of forgiveness and understanding. We think we are loving beings, but I think many of us are living with hearts blocked by the pain and suffering of the past. That limits our ability to see the world as a safe and loving place. We begin to define our outer world and its parameters based on our inner pain. We can live in limitation until we die, or we can choose to take a chance on love. We can decide that we don't want to live the rest of our lives hiding out from ourselves. So without regard for what you are receiving, decide from now on to be a giver of life. Decide that you will be the one who brings the love, beauty, and grace to every situation. You will be the one to shine the light wherever you are. You will be the instrument through which great healing happens." So I'd like to take this into prayer. I acknowledge that within the universe there is only love. There is one pervading presence, one force encompassing everything that is in existence, one energy from all things that are made of. The source of all things is God. And I recognize that the magnificence and awesome power of the one presence that is absolutely everywhere within the universe. I realize that this same intelligence that created everything does not stop being where I am. It is the substance that life is made of. I am a divine being made of the one energy and having a human experience. I know that the universal law is impersonal, automatic, and intelligent. The universal law receives the direct impress of Spirit's impulse and acts upon it, bringing it into form. Know that what makes each individual come alive is the emotion that brings into form. So go out and do it. Use this creative process to shape our human experience in alignment with the whole, perfect, and complete reality. That is a reality with a capital R. With so much gratitude to the source of all that is, this attitude of gratitude opens our consciousness to receiving even more good. And when we are focused on the good that we already have, then we can only attract more good. So as I release this into the wisdom and the love of the universe and the divine life that there is, together we can say, and so it is. Thank you. Sorry. I now have to introduce, I'm sorry, our interim minister, Reverend Gregory Toole. And he is based in Bakersville, California, I believe it is, right? Okay. And wonderful message we have from him today. Thank you.
Good morning, Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral Community. I'm Reverend Gregory Toole, your interim minister, and I'm very happy to be your interim minister, very happy to serve this community that's in transition. And I really just want to bring a lot of love and care and take my 17 years, this year makes 17 years that I've been a minister, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to work with a lot of our CSL communities, and especially those that are going through transition and going through difficulty, and really get them to the other side of that. And that's kind of become something I have a knack for. And so I really look forward to supporting you all in that. Transition can be a really difficult time. It can be a real challenge. And I have some processes and skills and awarenesses and consciousness and teaching to bring that can really help you all move through this time. And I really look forward to meeting a lot of you in a few weeks. On May 30th, I will be there live and in person in Cape Coral. And for the whole weekend, I'll speak that Sunday in person, and I'll be there for that whole weekend, and we'll plan activities. And I really look forward to meeting as many of you as possible, so we get to know each other a little bit. I'm sure for some of you, this guy from California and was recommended by Home Office, I'm sure that can bring up some questions and concerns as to, what the intention is, or is there an agenda, or is it something coming from Home Office? And I really want you to know that this is really my heart. This is really my passion. I love healthy communities, and I love contributing and helping to create healthy, thriving communities. And that's the only thing that I'm about. And so I look forward to this journey that we're going to take together, and it will, be a temporary thing. And then when we finish doing what we do, and we've freed up some energy and released some things and done some forgiveness work and done whatever else we're called to do, I look forward to seeing you soar and step into what your greater yet to be is. So this morning, I'm so happy to be here with you, and I look forward to when I'm there with you in person. This morning, we're talking about stepping up and stepping out. And I just love the synchronicity of, the last talk title was The Winds of Change. And of course, these come from the CSL themes that were planned long ago. And I just love that, here we are in our first month together, working together. And I just love these talk topics, stepping up and stepping out, which really comes from this Joseph Campbell line that says, we must be willing to let go of the life we had planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. We must be willing to let go of the life we had planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. You know, that plan, right? We had our plan and then something changed. The minister left, maybe multiple ministers left, maybe things changed in the community. And we had all these plans and these ideas, and not only for the center, but for our own lives, right? We have all these plans of what we want life to be. And oftentimes those plans are very much in our rational planning mind, right? That intellect. And this call from Joseph Campbell, I think, is a call into our hearts, a call into what our hearts are longing for. What is it that we're really being called to step into? And so I want to talk to you about that today because I relate to it so much in my own journey. Coming into Science of Mind, 6 months after coming into Science of Mind, I left my corporate career. I mean, just totally left that career. And my journey is very unique. I don't think that many people are called to that, what we might call drastic of a move. But I was called to take this big step. And what the gift that Science of Mind really gave me right there, beginning right at the foundational class, was this gift of bringing me back into my heart, bringing me back into what my soul really was here to do, bringing me back to my soul's purpose in incarnating and even coming into this world. And that could only be found in my heart, which for so many years, most of my life, I had disconnected from. You know, I had bought into a lot of things in the world, a lot of things about what the world told me I ought to be, right? And so, you know, I followed that path that the world gave me a blueprint for, you know, how I could be successful and how I could get status and all of it. And so, you know, I went and I did the MBA and because that was, you know, I was already, you know, in a corporate career, and then I did an MBA because that was going to take me to the next level. But all of it was up here. All of it was doing what I should do. All of it was doing what the world told me to do. All of it was coming from the outside. None of it was coming from my heart. None of it was coming from this inspiration within me of something I was being called into. And I think what drew me to come into spiritual community at all, to come into anything that looked like a church at all, was something was missing for me. And I could feel it. I could feel something dying in me. You know, I could feel my soul like withering, not that the soul can actually wither, but it was my experience of it. You know, that I was out of integrity with myself. I was out of alignment with who I am and what I'm here for and the gifts that I'm really to give and what I'm passionate about and what I love. And this foundational class with 3 simple questions took me directly right into my heart space for the first time in a long, long time. And those 3 questions, they were very simple. One of them was, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? So that took all kinds of things out of my mind that would have been there. Like if I would have contemplated things that my heart wanted to do, it would be like, oh, well, how am I going to do that, right? But then this question was, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? And then another one was, what would you do if money were no object? And that took a whole bunch of other things out of my mind because my mind would have gone to, oh, but yes, where am I going to get the money to do this? And how am I going to support myself? And then there was another question that said, what would you do if you knew you only had 6 months to live, right? And so that brought the immediacy of it all, right? If I only had, and I hadn't really thought about it to this moment, but I left, within 6 months, I left my corporate career. So I guess that did bring in the urgency of it, you know, of like, do it now, you know, make the shift now, make the change now. And so those 3 questions brought me into my heart space. And when I came into my heart space, it became so clear that I had dedicated my life and all of my energy and my gifts and everything I had to offer to something that was imposed on me, not truly imposed on me, but that I allowed to be imposed on me by the world. And as I got into my heart space, it just became clear that I was to serve the world in a very different way than what I was currently doing. And what made the journey really interesting is it wasn't revealed to me immediately what that was to look like. And so I had to just kind of step out on trust and faith, because it was such a powerful impulsion within me. It was such a powerful urge, a powerful longing, that it was so clear in that moment that to stay in that corporate career was to basically like shrivel up and die, basically, in terms of my soul and my being in integrity with myself and my own being. And then there was this open field, you know, on a feeling level in my heart. One direction was to stay and keep doing what I was doing. But that direction, I could like feel, even taking one more step in that direction, like myself just shrivel up. And then here was this other direction that, even though it was uncertain and the path was unknown, and even the first steps even weren't even clear and were unknown, but the feeling of moving in that direction was this feeling of openness. I'm stepping into this wide open pathway that is exciting, and my heart is in it, and I'm so willing to give my life to it, even though I don't even know exactly what it is yet. I knew I was to serve humanity in some greater way. And it only took 1 year before I stepped a little ways into that. I started running a nonprofit youth organization in Oakland, California. And that was a huge step in the direction that I was being called. It wasn't the ultimate, but it was a huge step from doing something that I really was not passionate about at all. It was nothing that my heart was really longing for, but it was practical. And so now here I was doing something that I really believed in. I really felt like I was making a difference, and I was giving my gifts to something that really served my soul, that really was like, yes, there was a big yes in me, that this aligns me. And then eventually, as I became a practitioner of religious science, a science of mind practitioner, and then eventually got to call to be a minister, it all clarified even more. It just clarified and clarified. And so I ran that nonprofit for about 5 years, and then directly from there, I entered my ministerial training, and the rest is history. Now I've been a minister for 17 years and never questioned it, never looked back. It was so clear where I was to go. Now, of course, I've skipped over, especially at the beginning of that process, I've skipped over a lot of very interesting experiences of, at times, challenges and all kinds of things. And yet that strong impulsion in me, that strong knowing that I was on the right path, kept me going. And this teaching of science of mind, that this knowing in me that always, no matter how things look, that I can call forth a new experience, that any appearance, that I can change that appearance by changing the way I'm looking at life. And so it really taught me, this path that I took really taught me in the deepest way about our principles around prosperity, right? That spirit within me is my unlimited source. I only had that as a concept when I first started the journey, and then as I had to be able to apply that, I had to reach deeply into my being and say, how do I contact that part of me that knows that spirit within me is my unlimited source? And so over and over and over again, I came back to that truth, that spirit within me is my unlimited source. Over and over again, I did the 40-day prosperity program from John Randolph Price that some of you may be familiar with. Over and over again, I read Joel Goldsmith and his books that talk so clearly about God as or spirit, or the universe as our all sufficiency. And it was a beautiful journey, because every step of the way I was expanding into my knowing of the teaching, my experience of the teaching where it became in me. It was a living thing in me. It wasn't just a theory or a concept. That it wasn't just like conceptually, spirit is my unlimited source, that spirit within me is my unlimited source. It was my reality. And I began to see that things like tithing and the law of circulation were really real. That the more I would give and the more I would let go and release of good out into the world, the more good would come back to me. And I discovered, oh, this is really real. And I even played with it back and forth. It's like, there would be times where maybe the finances were a little tighter that month. And I thought, well, what will be the big deal if I skip 1 month of tithing? And then I would discover, oh, when I skip that 1 month of tithing, I feel less prosperous. And as I feel less prosperous, I stop the flow. And also by stopping the giving, which is the first step of the law of circulation, I also kind of cut off the flow of receiving some. And so that little by little, trial and error, not taking the teaching as dogma, not taking it just as what someone else has told me, little by little, I discovered that this teaching of science of mind was so real, and that these principles were true. And all that I had to do was to learn how to use them. And so I took classes and classes and classes and studied and studied and studied and did my own inner work, to keep coming back to, okay, this is the principle. How come I'm not experiencing it in my life right now? So the Joseph Campbell quote, letting go of the life we planned in order to make room for the life that is awaiting us, the life that really is our soul's calling, is the life that the reason that we even incarnated into this lifetime and took on a body and took on a personality and an experience, and the way we access that is through the heart. And one of the ways, simple ways that we can get in touch with, I gave you one way that I got in touch with my heart, which was those 3 questions. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do if money were no object? What would you do if you knew you only had 6 months to live? That's one technique that you could also employ to come in touch with your heart, to get out of the head and the planning and the what I should do, and to get in touch with what's really moving in me, what wants to come through me. Ernest Holmes really saw the science of mind teaching as and this movement that we have called Centers for Spiritual Living, used to be called Church of Religious Science. He really saw that as a divine impulsion that was coming through him. He really didn't want to take a lot of credit for it. It was like in one, I'm teaching right now the Essential Ernest Holmes. And in the book by Jesse Jennings, The Essential Ernest Holmes, there's a place where Ernest Holmes says, I really don't like to talk about myself a lot, but in this case, I have to talk about myself because I was there. He didn't say because I created this philosophy. He said because I was there. And I love that, because what he was talking about is that he was a channel, he was a vehicle, he was a vessel through which this divine impulsion, this divine idea of science of mind came into being. And this is what we are, right? We are each of us is a divine center of infinite consciousness. And there's constantly an impulsion of something that wants to be birthed through us, something that wants to be given life through us. And one of the greatest way to get in touch with what that is that's moving in us is right there in our heart space. So we could ask those 3 questions. We could also, another way that we can get in touch with our heart space is just to do a really simple practice. And you might do this for 21 days. Just do it every day for 21 days. And it's very simple. We just put our hand on our heart and we just close our eyes and we take a few deep breaths and we just really listen in and be really present to ourselves and not try to make anything happen, not try to figure anything out. In fact, let the mind just be quiet. This is also similar to just doing meditation, which would also be another way to just sit in the stillness and really listen in and tune in to ourselves, tune into what's moving in us, what wants to happen through me right now. I ask myself sometimes, what has my heart been whispering to me? Or I ask people in classes, what has your heart been whispering to you for a long time that you've been ignoring, that you haven't really been listening to, right? We have those things that want to happen through us. We have those things that we could get really excited about, but then sometimes the mind talks us out of it. Well, where would I get the money? Maybe that's really impractical. How would I ever do that? The last time someone asked me when I was going to take on something really significant that was not normal, was not something that maybe even that anyone had ever done before. And I told someone in my life who is one of the very practical people in my life, that's not really about the living your passion at all or living from your heart at all. And I told this person what I was going to do. And they immediately said, well, how are you going to do that? And of course, my mistake was telling them at all at that early stage, because they're not a person who could take that in. So they're really going to contribute negative energy to the vision. But I've been at this long enough now that it really didn't impact me. And the words, what came out of my mouth when the person said, well, how are you going to do that, was magic. I'm going to work my magic. And of course, we know that it's not really magic, but it is magical in a way, right? This invisible principle that we can call upon, that we can speak our word upon an invisible law, an invisible principle, and we can call something into form. We can shift the way we're thinking about our lives. We can shift how much we're willing to accept, how much we're willing to have, how much we're willing to experience. And there's an immutable law, a principle that just receives that and begins to make it real. And the more we steep in that, that becomes our reality. And so there I was just saying, like, yes, this is an idea. It's a divine idea. And so we get to start to recognize this energy that's moving through us, like the energy that was moving through Ernest Holmes when he created a philosophy and a whole movement that all of us are a part of today with 400 plus centers around the world, that this is the truth of us as well, that there's always something moving in us, always something wanting to be birthed in us, always something wanting to be given life. And the way we contact it is to get still, to put our hand on our heart, to listen in. What's moving in me? What's alive in me? Sometimes we can be doing all these things, but it's like dead. It's just some thing that the mind conjured up, that's like what we should do or what the world said we ought to do, but it's kind of like has no life in us. It's like dead, it's just like, yeah, I'm doing it because, but then when we do the things and we align our life with the things and we participate in the things that really align with our soul, our heart literally sings, right? Our heart literally, we light up, right? Oftentimes when we are, as practitioners, ministers, doing some spiritual coaching with someone, that's one of the things we really pay attention to. When the person is talking about what they want or what they don't want in life, one of the things we notice is when they light up, and we point that out to the person. We say, well, I know you said that you're not clear on which way you should go. Should you do this or should you do that? But when you talked about that thing, your whole being just lit up. Your energy just lifted up. And when you talked about that other thing, you kind of slumped and you shrank and you there was no energy there. And so we get to learn to pay attention to what expands us, what has our energy really lifted and gets a rise in us and something we feel aligned with. And what are those things that really cause us to shrink? They're not aligned, they're kind of dead, and we're aligning with something dead as opposed to the life in us that is constantly moving, constantly wanting to take form. There's this beautiful poem that Ernest Holmes wrote in the Science of Mind textbook, and I'm going to read it to you. It says, "Sweet song of silence, forever singing in my heart. Words cannot express, the tongue cannot tell. Only the heart knows the songs which were never sung, the music which was never written. I have heard that great harmony and felt that great presence. I have listened to the silence. And in the deep places of life, I have stood naked and receptive to thy songs, and they have entered my soul. I am lost in the mighty depths of thy inner calm and peace. And what I love about that poem is just this listening in, right? It's about what I was just discussing, of this listening in for what's moving in us. What's the song that wants to be sung by us? What's the music that wants to be made by us? And that's a metaphor. Not all of us are musicians necessarily, right? In fact, I am not per se a musician myself. But we all have our artistry. We all have our creativity. We all have the ways that creativity shows up in us. For so long before coming into Science of Mind, I thought of myself as not a creative person at all. Only to find out, coming into Science of Mind, that that is the essence of me. Not only am I creative, but the essence of me is creativity, and the essence of you is creativity. Something is always bubbling up. Something is always coming through us that wants to take form, and it is ours simply to listen in, to pay attention. What is your heart whispering to you today? What is your heart longing for? What would allow you to light up, just light up and be so passionate about your life right now? What is it that you're being called to invite into your life more, to do more, to be more? What people are you being called to be around more? Because those people also ignite you, they light you up. It's a joy just to be with them. When I think of some of the friends, close friends that I have, you know, it's energizing just to be in their presence, because we have a synergy, we have a connection, a deep connection, a resonance with each other. And just to be in each other's presence, you know, there's a friend from Colorado. I moved here to California, back to California about a year ago, and I developed a close friendship with a woman in Colorado. And when we get together, even by phone now or Zoom or whatever, a couple hours can go by, and it's like we could just keep talking even more. And it's just a platonic friendship, you know, it's not even a romantic situation, but it's just this deep connection that we had from the first day we ever met and still continues today. So the invitation today really is to tune in to your heart space. What is your heart whispering to you? What is your heart saying that it longs to be, to do, to sing, to dance, to express? And pay attention to that. Honor that. Invite that in to your life more and more and more, to the point where your whole life is made up of only those things, only the things that you're passionate about and your heart calls you into, and let all the rest go. Let the life that you planned for go, so that you can step in to the beautiful life that is calling to you, that is available to you. That's my invitation to you today. Thank you so much for listening. And I'll leave you also with an affirmation that you might choose to use. And that is, today I answer the call of my soul. I listen to my heart's longing. Today I answer the call of my soul. I listen to my heart's longing. Let me offer you this prayer before I close today. And so we turn within. And in this moment, I recognize that one life that is God, that is spirit, that is divine, that one life of wholeness, of perfection, of love, of harmony, of infinite wisdom, intelligence, and creativity. And then I recognize that that life is my life. That life is the life that is living through me, expressing through me. And that life is the life of each one of us, listening to this service, watching this service, or anyone who is resonant with this principle, this truth, that this is the truth of every person we encounter, every person we meet, that each one is a unique divine expression of that one. And knowing this to be the truth, I speak this word right now and declare and know that every person within the range of my voice, or even outside of the range of my voice, who has any resonance with this word whatsoever, that I speak this word and declare and know that each one of us are right now opening to, listening in, and hearing and feeling and experiencing the divine impulsion of this moment and this moment and this moment. And we honor it and we listen to it. And I see and declare and know that all who are saying yes to this, that we are moved into right action, and right action is taking place all around us, such that we are living the song of our heart. We are living our soul's calling, and life is good. I am so grateful for this truth, so grateful for this awareness. And I just release this word to that immutable law, knowing it always says yes, and therefore I know it is done just as I have declared. I let it be. We ground it together with the words, and so it is. Peace and blessings.
Thank you, Reverend Gregory, for your magic that you bestowed on us today. And I know I speak for everyone that we are looking forward to meeting you in person the end of the month. My name's Kay Atwood, and I'm a member of the Leadership Council. And it's my pleasure today to thank all of you who have donated and kept the center open. And we want you to know we do practice the law of circulation, as Reverend Gregory was saying, so that we can, as we receive, we give. And not only do we pay our bills, but we give to the community, and we give a percentage every week to different organizations. And this quarter, the organization that we have chosen is called ACT, Abuse, Counseling, and Treatment. And they deal with domestic abuse, child, elder abuse, and human trafficking. So it's a wonderful organization, and we donate a portion of what we get every Sunday to them. So know that your generosity is going out into the community as well as helping us here. And there are many ways that you can donate. One way is to text your donation to 239-320-3820. And you can use PayPal. Our PayPal address is paypal@cslcapecoral.org. And then you can go on our website, cslcapecoral.org, and select the donate button. It will give you several ways to donate. And you could send a check to the Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral, 406 Southeast 24th Avenue, Cape Coral 33990. And if you shop on Amazon, go to smile.amazon.com and select CSL as your charity of choice. So a portion of your purchase will go to us. As you leave today, you'll see some blue containers on each side of the door with our logo. And if you have cash or check today, feel free to drop it in that container. And I invite you to hold your donation now in your hands. If you just put your hand on your heart, that's good too. And say our tithing affirmation with me. Today, I know the activity of divine abundance is at work in my life and the life of the center. I give and receive generously as I live in the flow of bountiful good. And I would like to say a word of blessing. With appreciation and love, we accept these offerings and gifts. Divine love through us blesses each gift and each giver. We know that all that has been given here, circulates to do great work, both within the spiritual community and in the world at large. Standing in gratitude, I release these words. So please join me in saying, and so it is. Thank you. And now Linda will do our announcements.
Wow, this is a great place, isn't it? And we've got all kinds of cool stuff going on here. And I personally love book studies. We talk about here, change your life by changing your mind. And this is one of the great ways to help your mind. And Malika and I facilitate a class on Tuesdays at 3:30 to 5:30. You can join us anytime, even if you're not current with the book. Just get the book and jump in. And a lot of these things that we study in these books are that you can do that. You can jump in from time to time. You don't have to be in it from the beginning. And so that is on Tuesdays, and it is a $30 per month suggested love donation. And Valerie Data is also doing a book study with I Am Enough by Marissa Peer. And she meets on Sundays. It just started. I believe you can jump in on hers too. I'm not exactly sure about that, but 6:30 to 7:45 is when she's doing that. And every week we have a midweek tune-up here where Melissa sits out under the oak trees, and we social distance and wear masks and talk about really cool spiritual topics and conversation. And we have an ongoing food drive. We thank you for all of your love and support. And we have a box out in the foyer, and we make a weekly delivery of that. And as we're exiting today, we try to clear out of here quickly so those who can get busy doing the sanitation, so we keep our center nice and clean and bump elbows and visit outside. So thank you so much for coming today. And now we are going to, I invite you to stand. And this is our time where we stand in the light for one another, for our loved ones, for our family, for our friends, and just release their names of anyone that you want to hold in this prayer field in this beautiful time of holding them in the light. And I am standing in the light for my beautiful son, Cole, knowing his absolute perfection and wholeness. And I'm standing in the light for all of the unspoken prayers, and I invite each one of you to speak your own name into the light at this time. Linda. And how good it is to come together and once again recognizing one source, one supply, one maintaining, sustaining life force substance, this beautiful thing that we call and know as God, knowing it is everywhere present, always, always, always. There is not a spot where God is not. It is 24/7, broadcasting love and peace and beauty and joy, intelligence, awe and wonder all the time. So let us go forth with that in our minds today and really turning within today at some point, sometime, as we have gone over these beautiful truths today of letting our heart speak to us? What is wanting to emerge? I'm just knowing that this is a great day of emerging, this beautiful season of springtime. Let us spring forth out into this day in new and great and grand and glorious ways. So let us come together in the attitude of gratitude, so grateful for this time together and blessing the rest of this day. So releasing this word unto the law, knowing it is good, knowing it is so. I invite us to anchor this in consciousness by saying together, and so it is.
We let the love watch over us. We let it be. We let peace, we let hope
The peace.
watch over,
Wash over.
watch over us. Yeah.
We let.
Oh, we
We
let
let.
it be. We let
We
joy,
let.
let it fill your heart,
The joy.
let it fill your
Wash
soul, watch over and over you. Oh,
We let.
oh, we
We
let it be. We let
We
love
let.
watch over,
The love.
watch over us, watch
Wash
over and over and over us.
We let.
Oh, we
We
let it be. We let love
We let.
watch over,
The love.
watch over us, watch
Wash
over and over us.
We let.
Oh, we
We
let it be. Thank you for coming. Have a
Have a good
wonderful
week.
week.